We all know we should start our day with energy. We all know we should start our day right. So we all know we should start the morning properly. We should get right into action. But what happens to those days where you don't start the day right? What happens to those days where you just are not feeling it? And today definitely was one of those days for me. Usually by this time I'll be out and about, either doing workouts or recording videos or just doing something productive. But today it just felt like I didn't have the energy to do any of that. I felt tired, I felt exhausted, I felt mentally drained, I felt fatigued. It just felt a lot easier to just lay down and scroll around and just do nothing productive. And this isn't even the first day something like this is happening. It happens a lot of times, in fact many times, multiple times a week. But as sad as it is to admit, if I keep living like this, I won't get the results I want to get. If I keep living like this, I won't get to the level I would like to reach. So what do you do on days where you just don't feel like it, where there's just no motivation, there's no energy, there's no drive, there's no passion, there's just no nothing? Well, I came up with this concept that I call negotiation. So normally negotiation is a tactic in which someone, when you want to purchase something, you try to bring the price down, you try to lower how much you'll have to pay. So for example, if you want to buy a car and they tell you the car is $10,000, for example, you can negotiate and say you'll pay it instead. Then the buyer would either agree or disagree. But basically in negotiation, you don't have to pay the exact thing that is just said at the very first hand. You can bring the price down to something that is more convenient for you. And the reason why I implemented the negotiation tactic in my day-to-day life, or at least for bad days like this, is I like to call it negotiating the task. If normally I'm supposed to do maybe 100 push-ups, for example, on this day I know the last thing I want to do is to go outside and do anything. So it will be very, very easy for me to just skip push-ups altogether. But if I negotiate the task and say, okay, instead of doing 100, why don't I just do 10 or 5 or even just 2, then I'm a lot more likely to still give it a go. And the thing is that doing 10 or 5 or 2 is definitely not going to give you the same results or rewards as doing 100. But the thing is that doing 10 or 5 or 2 is always better than doing 0, because if you don't negotiate the task on these bad days, it's automatically you're going to do 0 in everything you're supposed to do. But when you negotiate the task, you actually do 5, and if you think about it, 5 is 10,000 times better than 0, so you actually still make significant progress. On this particular day anyway, I didn't really do push-ups, but I chose to work on some videos that I had in mind. Maybe not to the level I usually would do it, but at least I just tried to show up and do something. At the end of the day, what really brings success is showing up more days than you don't show up. It's not just if you miss a day, it's fine. If you miss 2 days, it's fine. If you won't miss a week, it's fine. It's just as long as the other days you show up, the other weeks you show up are more than the days or weeks that you miss. It's when you start to miss a lot more weeks or a lot more days than you show up, that's when you are not going to see success. But if you continue to show up, no matter how tired you are, no matter how much that day is just not one of those days, but you negotiate the task and you're just willing to do the bare minimum of whatever that activity is, just show up, you are still 10 times further ahead of other people that will just not bother to do anything, or the version of yourself that will easily just be like, oh, I'm not feeling it today, so I'm just not going to do it. So just try your best, because at the end of the day, we are all on this success journey and we're all trying to make it to the end, and the last thing we want to do is to slow ourselves down or be our own biggest obstacle. So give whatever you can to just move yourself forward, and before you know it, the success you have been desiring will come to you.